Hello teacher, my name is Sherin Zambrano and I'm going to talk about a video by David Crystal, a well-known linguist. In this video, he explains how new technologies affect the English language. David Crystal says that technology has always influenced language. In the past, inventions like the telephone and television already changed the way people communicate. So nowadays, the internet and social media have a strong impact on English. People write messages faster and shorter, and especially on platforms like he said, Twitter or chats. He mentions that new words, abbreviations, and expressions appear because of technology, such as LOL or OMG. Some people think that this is bad for the language, but David disagrees. He explains that language change is normal and natural. Even with these changes, standard English is not disappearing. People still know when to use formal or informal language. In conclusion, technology does not destroy English. Instead, it helps the language grow, adapt, and evolve in society. Thank you.
Hello teacher, today I'm going to talk about the video David Crystal's Effects of the New Technology on English. David Crystals explained that technology has transformed English by creating new styles, but without altering its foundations. The printing press in the 15th century gave rise to genders such as headlines and editorials. The telephone in the 19th century changed greeting from "Are you there?" to "Hello", and in the 1920s, radio introduced sport commentary and weather forecasts. Uh, while the internet can blogs, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter limited to 140 characters changed the way people express themselves. Even its initial questions, "What are you doing?" encourage personal messages. And when it changed to "What's happening?" it promote a more narrative stance. The side variations, such as "lol," and 90% of texts are styled right in conventional English. Crystals reflects the idea that the language in endangers, as why the prime press or the telephone. English adapts but remains stable. In conclusion, the technology doesn't not destroy the language, it enrich it with new forms of communications. Thank you.
Hello, today I'm going to talk about a video the effect of new technologies on English. In this video, David Crystal explains that new technology always changes language. And this is normal because it has happened many times in history. First, printing changed English because before printing there were not newspapers, but after printing people could read news, stories, and information. So language started to change little by little. Then the telephone changed the way people spoke. People learned simple words like hello, and communication became easier and more natural. Later, radio and television arrived, and many people were afraid. However, radio and TV create new ways of speaking, such as news, sports, weather, and talk shows, so language changed again. Now, we have the internet, which started in the 1990s, and because of the internet, we use email, text messages, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And each one uses language in a different way. For example, text message and Twitter are short, so people use fewer words. At first, Twitter asked, "What are you doing?" But later it's changed to "What is happening?" And people started to talk more about news in the world.
Hello, my name is Elsa Yaulema and I'm going to talk about David Crystal video. David Crystal, in his take, The Effect of New Technologies in English, analyzed how new technologies such as the internet, email, text messaging, and social media have changed the way used the English language. Many people think that these media are damaging the language, especially among young people, but Crystal disagrees with this idea. He argues that English is not deteriorating, but rather evolving as it always has throughout history. The author explained that each new technology brings with it new styles and forms of communication. For example, text message and chats use abbreviations, anonyms, emoticon, and faster, more informal writing. However, Crystal points out that this is not a substitute that formal English. People know when to write informally and when to use our more correct style, such as in school, work, or academic tests. Furthermore, Crystal points out that never before had people written as much as in the digital age. Also, much of this writing is brief and informal. It is still constant language practice, which can improve fluency and linguistic creativity. He also mentions that new technologies allow us to play with language and adapt it to different contexts or audience. In conclusion, David Crystal maintains that new technologies do not impoverish English, but rather make it more dynamic, flexible, and expressive. Instead of seeing this change as a threat, he proposed understanding them as a natural evolution of the language that responds to the needs of modern communication. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Magister. My name is Lady Villegas, and I will be presenting my analysis of David Crystal's video, The Effect of New Technologies on English. David Crystal says that technology has always changed language. He gives the example of the printing press, which at the time created new writing styles like those of newspapers. He also notes that every time something new comes out, there are always people who predict the end of the world. It happened with the telephone, with the radio, but in the end, those technologies only brought new ways of speaking, like sports commentary on the radio. And today, the internet is doing the same thing. Things like blogs, Facebook, Twitter have each created their own writing style, often out of pure necessity, like when you have to abbreviate because there's a character limit. A great example is Twitter. At first, it asked, "What are you doing?" and people shared their own things. Then they changed it to "What's happening?" and people started sharing news and what they saw around them. A simple change to a question completely altered how the internet was used. But here's the most important point. Crystal clarifies that, while all of this is interesting, the internet hasn't fundamentally changed English. The language we use today is practically the same as it was 20 years ago. Real change takes a very long time, so, in short, there is no need to panic. English, and any language, is resilient and adapts, but its essence remains strong despite memes, tweets, and new apps. Thank you.
This is Macarena Viteri, and in the video, David Crystal talks about how the internet and texting affect the English language. Many people believe the internet is bad for English, but Crystal says this is not true. He explains that the internet does not change the language, it changed the way we use it. On the internet, people usually write short messages because it is faster and easier to communicate. For example, in chats or social media, people do not write long sentences. About texting, many people use short words like lol or OMG. However, he says that we do not use these abbreviations all the time, and that is true. Um, Most of the time, we still use normal English. So, in conclusion, the internet and texting do not destroy English. They are just new ways to communicate. Thank you.